Okay. Now the next question is, how many of you, so we all know that 1 million Malaysians have now signed up for the vaccine, but how many of you have signed up for the vaccine? Raise your hand if you have. Hey, cool. So some very proactive people around, huh? Fantastic. Okay, so I'll be bombarded by lots of questions about what happens when you and how you're going to get called and everything. To be honest, none of us really know. So, but we will actually we will walk hand in hand with you to make sure that everybody who needs to has their vaccine. Okay, so I'm going to start my talk now. Okay, share screen. That's it. Okay, right. Okay, you all can see my slide now. Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so I'll do a little introduction about what COVID-19 is, just in case there's still any misunderstanding about this virus, and then about what the vaccine does, and then I've left a lot of time for questions and answers, and then if there's time at the end, and if people would like to, we'll do a short tutorial in how to sign up for the vaccine using My Sejahtera, because that's the only portal that is open right now. And so that's why we're like, you said you were going to open 1st of March, but it's already open. Yeah, so they're moving faster than they have ever had. It doesn't mean that they're all good. Right. So I'm going to, whoops. Okay, so I'm sure you've seen this picture and you really do not like that thing in that picture. So this is the virus, the COVID-19 virus, but you can't see it actually. This is a picture that's taken under the electron microscope. So even if you put the virus under a real light, a normal light microscope, you cannot see anything because the virus particle is so small. It's not actually an organism, it's a particle. Yeah, viruses are very weird things. There is a particle and you can only see it in an electron microscope. So what happens is we put it under a microscope that bounces electrons around. So then when the electron hits the virus, it will backfire. So then when we get back the signal from the electron microscope, then we actually use computer to generate this image of the virus particle. And I'd like to, you know, those triangular red things? Well, that is the characteristic spike protein of the viruses. That's how we identify these viruses using our tests, the PCR tests and the rapid antigen tests. And then there's also is also how we identify this, how we're actually going to identify this virus in order to kill it when we actually have a vaccine. Okay, so this is a hand-drawn picture, a cross section. So be able to cut the virus in half. This is what it looks like. So so inside that snake-like thing, that's a genetic code of the viruses. This COVID-19 virus does not have a DNA genetic code. It only has an RNA. Yeah. So we all have our genetic code are actually held in this thing called the double helix, the DNA. The virus don't have. The virus only have a strand of RNA. Okay. So so we can make more viruses if we have this genetic code, and this is how the virus works. So all it has is a genetic code and a capsule, and then on top of those capsules are all the proteins that help the virus signal to the cells to make more viruses and things like that. This is as simple as it is. It's a very simple. It cannot survive on its own. This virus, it's a parasite. It needs a host to survive. So we chuck the virus on a surface. A few days later, it will die without a host. So that's why we say if you get a package from the in the poster, you just leave it outside under the sun even faster. But you know, I just normally leave it under the car porch because if it gets rain or sun, may be damaged. For 1 week, then I bring it in. Then definitely guarantee virus will not live already. It's because it's not actually it cannot survive on its own. So it needs other organisms to survive. Okay, So this is how the virus actually spreads. And I'm sure you all know this very well. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so this virus you catch if you come in contact with people with the virus. And I think we all know that people can be infectious without any symptoms, and people are most infectious about 2 days before they actually develop any symptoms if they are supposed to get ill with COVID-19. So there's a very sly thing, this virus particle. So we usually catch it when someone sneezes or cough, and the virus just propels into the air with a droplet of those cough. So when we cough, there are like drops of humidity or our saliva or our secretions. The virus is trapped in there, and then we inhale these droplets, and it settles in our lungs. The virus settles in our lungs and then starts fooling our body. So basically, when you catch you catch this COVID-19 when the virus, the SARS-CoV virus, enters your lungs and then attacks the cells in your lungs, and that's how it causes the damage. But sometimes we can also catch the virus if it falls on a surface, and we touch that surface, and then we touch our mouths, which is why we ask you to wash your hands. And then if you cough, you cover your mouth quickly with whatever is available, your elbow or your hands or a piece of cloth. You throw the tissue away and you wash your hands. Okay. Or if you use handkerchief, you make sure you wash your handkerchief. Okay. So you all know that. So basically, when you the other thing that happens is if you're very near someone, then when they cough, the droplet you could inhale them. But if you stay 2 meters apart from them, the droplet doesn't fly so far, because it's quite heavy. It will fall on the floor before it gets to you. So that's why we do social distancing. But of course, 2 meters apart is very far. So we actually make it 1 meter because it's more realistic. And most of the time, the droplet cannot fly any more than 1 meter. But 2 meters is safer than 1 meter. So in some countries, they actually enforce 2 meters. But our country, not enough space. So 1 meter with a face mask and wash your hands, we're able to contain the virus. It doesn't guarantee that you won't spread, but it reduces the spread. Okay. So there are 3 types of tests now we use for COVID-19. So I'm sure you've seen lots of long queues outside all the labs. Yeah. So there are 3 tests. The test that that the medical doctors accept is the PCR test. Yeah. So the PCR test is actually detects the genetic code of the virus. It's very sensitive. Why? Because it's called polymerase chain reaction. Very fancy name, right? So you only need 1 copy of the virus, and then with the machine will make lots of copies of the virus genetic code so that it's easy to detect the viruses. Very highly sensitive test. We only need 1 copy in order to detect whether someone's got an infection with the SARS-CoV virus and to actually make the diagnosis of COVID-19. But the problem with PCR tests is you need clever scientists who know how to do these tests because they need to prepare reagents and everything. So and you need a big lab, and you need to have all the PCR machine and everything. So it makes the test expensive and also not really accessible. So somewhere like Sabah, they only had 2 labs who can actually do these tests under the government. Some of private labs could still do it. So it actually really slows it down. So now what's quite popular is the antigen tests. So the antigen test is just a chemical reaction. So the chemical is able to detect the virus and then basically changes color. It's not as good as the PCR. So it will miss 1 in 5 people who actually have COVID-19. So a positive result is good, but a negative result means you have to repeat the tests using a PCR. But it's much cheaper and much more accessible. So if we can detect 4 out of 5 immediately, it actually speeds up the process a lot. So nowadays, a lot of places we use antigen tests first, and then we repeat the tests for those who actually have who have the negative tests, and we still suspect they have COVID-19, we will do a PCR test. It speeds up the process a lot, but we still need PCR if we have antigen tests. So this antibody test has caused a lot of controversy. This antibody test does diagnose COVID-19, but it cannot diagnose it in the first few days of the illness because your body, even though the virus is in your body takes a few days to develop the antibody. So it's only good, it's only useful is if you were ill, and then after that you wonder, oh, did I have COVID-19? Then you did the antibody tests and then it's positive. But it's what it's very useful for, which the other tests can't do, is to tell me who in a population has had COVID-19. Because if someone had COVID-19 and then they got better already, they will not test positive for the virus, but the antibody will stay there. At the moment, we think for about 9 months. So if we test those people, we say, oh, you've had COVID-19 already. You just didn't know about it. So that's what we are doing now, antibody tests in populations to see how widespread the disease has got. So there are parts of the world, like in Brazil, there's a city in Brazil where they tested the population, 60% of them already caught COVID-19. So they thought, never mind, no need to do physical distancing, already got hurt immediately. They were wrong, they got a second wave, even with 60%, we call it zero prevalence, because the antibody doesn't last forever. Okay, so the first two tests, the molecular test, the PCR test, and the antigen tests, we are detecting the virus. So we need to get it from your nose. So you all know this swab test, right? So both are swab tests. So we stick a long cotton bud into your nose, swivel it around, and then that's how we catch the viruses. Antibody test is a blood test, so it's a normal blood test. Okay. Right. So the antigen test is very fast. So the antigen test can be about 1 hour also can got ready. Both the antibody test and the PCR test, you need to do it in the lab. So it take up to 1 week to come back. Especially the antibody test take long time to come back because no one in any hurry to process. It's not an emergency test because you should have got better from the disease already. We just want to know whether you had any. Okay. So basically, this is why I'm talking to you today. I'm a geriatrician. I look after older people. So today in our hospitals, we are looking after a lot of older people who have been very, very sick because of COVID-19. And it is devastating because they used to be very fit and well. Suddenly they catch COVID-19. They're very out of breath. And some of them, the couple will get it. And then usually it's the men who get it worse. So it's actually a widow maker. It's a little bit like World War I and World War II. COVID-19 is also a widow maker. And with every decade of life, your risk of dying actually increases by about 10 times. So by the time you're over 80, the risk of dying with COVID-19 is about 1 in 6 if you catch COVID-19. But the risk starts going up when you're over 50 already. So it goes up every decade of life. It's very, very scary. So that's why we say protect the vulnerable. Because the younger, below 50, if you catch COVID-19, some of them won't have symptoms. Some of them will have mild symptoms. They get better and they carry on. But of course, some will still not make it. So there is case fatality, and those are devastating. Of course, so young, suddenly your life cut short. So when the government announced our vaccination plan, and they went for the frontliners, we went, what for? The frontliners are going to get better, and that's it. So basically, unless the government moves quickly to start vaccinating the vulnerable group, we will not be able to actually make any difference to our infection rate or our use of hospitals because we haven't protected the vulnerable. Now, the frontliners is the reason why they're vaccinating frontliners first is because Malaysia has never, ever, ever done something so big in its entire history. And so frontliners are easy to reach. We're in hospitals, or they even use a police force, the army. And so they are testing out their system. So we give them 2 weeks and we expect them to start touching the people they really should be vaccinating. Otherwise, we will start making noise again. So this is people with dementia. So if you have COVID-19, and you have another, if you have COVID-19 and you have another illness such as diabetes or heart disease, your risk of getting hospitalized and your risk of succumbing to COVID-19 is much higher. But the worst one, which is not actually being widely publicized worldwide, is dementia. So this chart actually shows what happens if you have COVID-19 and dementia, because we have some people from the Alzheimer's Disease Foundation here. So I particularly put in this slide. Okay, so AD stands for Alzheimer's disease, and dementia, you know what you know what it is. So the first two bar charts shows African is a blue one and Caucasians. So this is actually study is actually from America. So they divide Africans and Caucasians for a very good reason, because we are bringing up, we are really putting the Western countries to task, because the death rates from non-whites is much higher than the death rates from whites. And we are asking them why, are you discriminating against non-whites when it comes to accessibility to healthcare? But anyway, that's not the question we're asking in this country. We're asking, if you have COVID-19 and dementia, are you more likely to go to hospital, and are you more likely to die? The answer is yes. So the first two bar charts, the first group of bar chart is actually someone who has COVID-19 and dementia. The second group is COVID-19 and Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. So if you have either dementia or Alzheimer's disease specifically, and you have COVID-19, your risk of hospitalization is at least 3 times higher than someone with COVID-19 and no dementia, or if you have dementia and no COVID-19. Okay, and your risk of death is 4 to 5 times higher. So having COVID-19 and death and COVID-19 and dementia is bad news. The risk of hospitalization is as high as 60%, and the risk of death is nearly 25%. It is very, very scary for people with dementia to catch COVID-19, and our only solution so far is to lock them up. Literally lock them up, and it's happening all over the world. So we really want the vaccines to reach this group, and this is particularly one of the major reasons why I actually volunteered to give this talk, because by giving this talk, hopefully we have less work, because when they get dementia, a lot of them don't make it, and it's really, really sad, because it suddenly happens and the family haven't had time to prepare for it and things like that. Okay, so this is why you're here for. This is COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, so this morning we've had a second type of vaccine arrive, the Sinopharm vaccine. Yeah, and the Sinovac. Yeah, so it's actually arrived, but it cannot be used at the moment because it still needs to be bottled, and it still needs approval from our MPRA, our Pharmaceutical Regulatory Authority. So they're trying to rush that so that we can actually start giving out the Sinovac as soon as possible. But we already have Pfizer. Pfizer arrived earlier than, so we know that our prime ministers had the first dose of the vaccine, and so has our Director General of Health. And we have now vaccinated 7,000, we call vaccinators. So people who are going to deliver the vaccine to the frontliners, and then the frontliners will start getting their vaccines on the 1st of March. I've got my appointment. It's the 3rd of March at 10 o'clock. So I can't wait to get this vaccine. So what's this vaccine that we're talking about? So again, this is a virus, okay? And the spike protein is what we are actually targeting. So basically, the Pfizer vaccine actually is what we call an mRNA vaccine. So the vaccine technology has got to that point that we are able to genetically engineer the mRNA, the RNA, the messenger RNA. So it's not a proper genetic code. It's just a messenger RNA of the vaccine, of the spike protein of the viruses, so that we can actually just deliver the messenger RNA of the viruses. So it is actually supposed to be much safer than traditional vaccines. And basically, when the body receives this mRNA, the messenger RNA, it then tells itself to replicate the virus, to actually make the RNA of the viruses, just the genetic code of the virus, not the whole virus. Okay. So the body will only make the spike protein. It will not make the viruses. So it's not dangerous because without the whole virus, it cannot infect your body. Just makes the spike protein. And then the body will say, oh, all these little things are these little proteins are they're aliens. I don't recognize them. And we all know what happens when an alien invades Earth, right? All the soldiers will go and fight it. So if an alien invades your country, if someone invades your country, everybody will go and fight this alien. Yeah, so basically we actually have to so our body will generate antibodies to attack the viruses, to attack this spike protein, which actually is not a virus, but we thought it's a virus. But what then happens is our body now has soldiers, antibodies to fight the virus when it really comes. So when the virus comes into our body, we already have the antibodies, and the antibodies will bind to the virus and actually raise a huge immune response to actually kill the virus before it can do much damage to our body. Okay, so basically, the anti the what do you call that the vaccine itself doesn't actually stop you getting infected from the virus. It just stops you from falling ill because it will kill the viruses. Yeah. So we actually need everybody to get vaccinated. You don't wait for somebody else to get vaccinated, because for you to get protected, you need to get vaccinated. Yeah. So the other thing that you need to know is that when your body is being asked to produce the spike protein and then generate the antibodies, you will feel a little bit unwell. And it's not because it's a side effect, it's actually an entirely intended effect, because your body is being told to generate antibodies. When you generate antibodies, your soldiers are fighting. So you might have a slight fever, you would feel aches and pains, but what you will definitely have is a slight reaction where the injection has gone in. Yeah, because your body has recognized that there is an invader, and all the soldiers have gone to fight this invader, and it's telling you that your body is under threat. So you will feel a little bit unwell. You'll have a swelling in your arm, and you will have a slight fever, just like just like a very mild flu, but it's not a proper infection. So it'll be 100 times lighter than if you actually caught COVID-19. So yes, people will say, "Oh no, I'm going to feel a little bit unwell for 1 or 2 days." Then, but that's what is expected, and you want to feel a little bit unwell because you worry if you don't feel a little bit unwell, maybe the vaccine didn't work so well, So it's okay to feel a little bit unwell after the vaccine. And anyone who's with grandchildren or children who have gone for vaccination know that you expect the child to actually feel unwell for 1 or 2 days after the vaccine. Sometimes moms even give the paracetamol, even when as soon as the jab goes in, they give the paracetamol so that the child won't have the fever. Same thing when you have the vaccine, you will have a reaction to the vaccine. It's not a side effect, it's an entirely intended effect. Okay, so these are the vaccines that Malaysia has purchased. And 50% of our vaccines, which we're very, very happy about, is a Pfizer vaccine. Okay, there's two reasons why I'm very happy about this. Because it shows that Malaysia has arrived. The cheaper vaccines, the cheaper vaccines and the more old-fashioned vaccines, like the Oxford vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine, the Sputnik vaccine, they are actually old-fashioned vaccines that use parts of the virus that is delivered by another virus that is harmless, or the Sinovac, which is the one that has just arrived, actually use an inactivated version of the virus. So they have killed the virus. It's just the virus, whatever the dead virus that they're delivering into your body. Those are very old vaccine technology already, and therefore the vaccines are cheap. They're cheap, but they're not as effective as the Pfizer vaccine. And we want to reserve those cheaper vaccines to countries who really can't afford to buy these vaccines. And we're talking about Africa, we're talking about our neighbors in Southeast Asia and other poorer countries in the world. We are actually a relatively wealthy country, so we can afford the Pfizer vaccine, and we're getting the best vaccine with the newest technology, and we're buying 50% of those. Yes, parts of our country are not accessible, not so accessible. The problem about the Pfizer vaccine is you have to have the cold chain, so everything has to be stored in ultra cold freezer, -80 freezers. So there are part of our countries that's not so accessible. So we actually have to buy other vaccines so that those vaccines can be taken to places where it's very difficult to maintain an ultra cold chain. And that's the reason why we need to give these vaccines to the poorer countries, because not only can they not afford to buy those vaccines, they also cannot afford to buy or they don't have the technology to maintain the cold chain. Okay. So this is our immunization program. We are now in phase 1, and it started in February, and it'll actually finish. I've got great faith it'll finish before April. So in UMMC, we will vaccinate nearly 400 people a day, and we will finish vaccinating all the staff in 12 days. So all the other hospitals are doing the same. So we are certain that we will actually, if everything goes to plan, we will actually finish much earlier than planned. But of course, there will be hiccups and things like that. But even with hiccups, we are positive that we will finish earlier than planned. And what's going to happen by April is we are already starting to deliver this vaccine to the vulnerable groups. And the most vulnerable groups are, of course, the oldest and the frailest, and those live in our care homes. In fact, some of the care homes have told us that their staff, because the staff of care homes are frontliners, have already been contacted, and they will be receiving the vaccines next week. And then we will deliver the vaccines to the frailest and the oldest, the care home residents, followed by, and then we work down the age groups when it comes to our population. So there will be lots of hiccups because Malaysia has never tried anything like this ever. And we need you to work together to make this possible, help each other, help the government. So we are offering to give talks because we want to explain to you what's going to happen. Okay, so so all the older people will get it in phase 2, and so will people with chronic illnesses, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. Those will get it in phase 2. And then finally, phase 3 is the rest of Malaysian citizens. And phase 4, they have just announced, will be our foreign workers. We wish to me, I secretly wish the foreign workers will get it faster because they're actually a very vulnerable group because they live in cramped conditions and they have because of the nature of their work, they are more exposed to the virus. But this is the way it's going to be. There will be phase 4, so we can actually get if we can get phase 4 started as soon as possible, that will be good. Okay, so we anticipate that the whole 80% of Malaysia, of residents in Malaysia, not just Malaysians, 80% of people living in Malaysia will be vaccinated by this time next year. So this is a very ambitious plan that we have laid out for a country. And the positive thing is that we are ahead of schedule because we have more capacity than we actually thought we did. Okay, so what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and it's not easy, I tell you that, because I tried this and we all had to help each other out. So we're like, wow, if a whole lot of people with medical degrees have to help each other out, yeah, what happens to the rest of the country? Okay, so there are 5 ways that the government anticipate people can sign up to the vaccine. At the moment, you can only sign up one way, that is through MySejahtera, and they're trying to get as many people as possible to use MySejahtera because apparently over 20 million people have downloaded MySejahtera. So if everybody who has or is able to use MySejahtera uses that to sign up, that will make their life much easier. But we recognize that not everybody wants to use MySejahtera. So by the 1st of March, hopefully, you should be able to sign up through the other means, and they will be announced. So you can sign up through our vaccine website. Do visit it now and then because it has new information. It's called vaccinecovid.gov.my. Yeah, the vaccine is spelled the Malay way, so it's VAKSIN. I always make that mistake. Okay. And then there will be a hotline. So for those people who only feel confident through a phone to sign up through a phone, they can call a number to sign up. You can sign up through clinics and hospitals. Which ones yet we don't know. And also in the rural areas, the plan is to actually go door to door to actually get people to come for their vaccines. You'll be like, huh? But actually, there's nothing new. Our politicians have done this all the time. And as a researcher, when we go to these rural areas to do research, we also go door to door. Yeah, we just basically go from door to door to actually distribute leaflets and ask and personally invite them to come at a certain time to a certain venue to actually have a tests. So we can do that as well when it comes to the rural areas for vaccines. Okay. So basically today, if you want to sign up for the vaccine, the only way you can do it until the other ways are open is actually through the MySejahtera app. That is supposed to be open in March, but as I mentioned earlier, we are ahead of plan, so you can already sign up for the vaccine with the MySejahtera. It's not first come first serve, okay? Yeah, so because you have to answer a few questions, you will be allocated according to area because it depends on which area they are in, and also according to your risk. Yeah, so it's not first come first serve. So sign up earlier doesn't give you that much of an advantage, but at least the quicker we get the population to sign up, the easier we make the life of the government. And we want as many of our population to get vaccinated as fast as possible. So MySejahtera will make their life easier. Okay, so this is how you do it. Yeah, I do actually have pictures later, but I also understand that quite a few of you have signed up. So what I will do is I will stop after this slide so that we can do the question and answer. And then later, if other people want to actually have a little tutorial on how to sign up on MySejahtera, we can do that as well. Okay, so this is how you sign up from MySejahtera. You need to update your app. Yeah. So if you go to your app now and has not been updated for some time, you'll not find the necessary bits. So you have to update your app, and then you click on the COVID-19 vaccination logo. You click on the vaccine for your name, and then you click the word here to add additional information, and then you send the information. Okay, and then you should be receiving your appointment through the app. You're supposed to actually switch on your notification. I'm sure I'm talking gobbledygook to half of you now. Okay, but don't worry, we'll go through it in a minute. Okay, and you will be notified when your appointment has actually been made. Now, as far as we're concerned, this is not working in UMMC at the moment. So we've had to develop our own parallel system to actually notify people. So we hope it will be working for you, but do anticipate it not to be working, and there will be other parallel systems to actually notify you based on your own area. So we have got plan A, plan B, plan C lah. Yeah. So at the moment we're using plan B because plan A is not working as planned. Yeah. So that's the way it's going to be. But remember, this is a very ambitious project. We have no choice but to do this, and things are not going to work as planned. That's what you need to anticipate. Okay. So I'll stop now for the questions, and then we can talk about how to, if you need to, we can do a tutorial on how to sign yourself up to MySejahtera. But if you don't want to use MySejahtera because it gives you palpitations and you do not have a smartphone and never intend to own one, then you can actually sign up at other means, and I will send the information to Mrs. Lam as soon as it's been received. Okay, so I will actually stop the and share momentarily, and then I'll share again later after we've done the question and answer session.
Thank you, Prof. Um, I'm sorry to everyone. Yeah, really, please remember that we are dealing with seniors group. And we over here has been trying to mute everyone, but each time when we muted, still someone will comes in unmute. I guess this is because they can't hear. So they want to try and they unmute themselves again. So we have been busy scrolling and mute everyone again. So apologize on that. Prof, we have actually received many questions over here on the chat. Yeah. Our team here is trying to put the questions up for you.
Okay. I can see them already. Yeah. So I'll start looking at those questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Tan?
Yes, sure. Sorry.
This is Sharifa.
Hi.
This housekeeping question. How long is this session going on for? Because I see a lot of questions, and I'm specifically interested in the vaccines and dementia.
Okay,
so I'm just wondering if this is going to be prolonged, or there's going to be a possibility of having another session just talking about vaccines and dementia, because there's quite a lot of issues within that.
Okay, sure. So we'll see how it goes. If you have to go and I haven't had time got to your question, then if you've posted a question, we will answer it. We will send you an answer one way or another. Yeah. Okay. So I can post my email here. So if you think of any other questions later, then
can I ask them now? Sorry.
Sorry. I think it's not fair to let you ask your question. So if you have to leave, just post my question, your question to email your question to me. I'll see whether I can.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Prof.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm Jen here. So sorry to disturb you. I think this question is quite feasible to everyone.
Yeah.
How do you know that a person is actually required to do a vaccine test, jab? Basically, if most of people, they don't go for even for yearly checkup and never have done full test, is the government is allow them to go for full free blood test first before they actually send them for a vaccination? What do you think that?
Yeah. I'll explain. I'll come to you in a minute. Okay. I'm just going to look through the questions first.
Yeah. For everyone. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So I think that's why we're offering to actually get doing this talk now. You do not need a blood test to actually to actually have a vaccine. There's no need for you to have a blood test. So if you imagine you take your baby to the doctors to have blood tests just so that they can have a vaccine, the doctor will ask you to get lost. No, try and do a blood test on a baby. It's the same thing. If you ask for a blood test but the government to also pay for the blood tests before you have the vaccine, the government will say no. Yeah, because there is nothing in the blood tests that is going to change my mind as to whether you should have the vaccine or not. Because the default is that everyone should have the vaccine if you're over the age of 18. Now, who should not have the vaccine? The only people we do not want to have the vaccine are the people who have had a severe who has severe allergies. So if anyone has had to go to hospital and stay in hospital for a long time, or need to have a tube and adrenaline injection, a breathing tube and an adrenaline injection after the allergic reaction, then they should not have that vaccine. Now that applies to a very tiny proportion of the population, but that's the only question that actually tells us whether someone should have that vaccine or not. Okay. Now the other group that we know we don't want to vaccinate are the children below the age of 18, and also pregnant women at the moment, because we don't think it's not safe. So if accidentally you found out you were pregnant after you've had the vaccine, it should be okay. But what we are trying to say is that we haven't tested it on pregnant women. So that's why the government is not actually intending to give it to pregnant women. So what happens is, if you intend to get pregnant, just get the vaccine first. If you are in your first trimester, you definitely shouldn't have the vaccine. But at the moment, they do not intend. The government does not advocate it for pregnant women because it's not been tested. It's not because we don't think it's safe. There will be some data on pregnant women, I'm sure, quite soon, because I'm sure a lot of pregnant women are very happy about this. They'd rather take the chance and not get COVID, because we've heard of lots of horror stories of people getting COVID when they are pregnant, and the baby being delivered but the mother not surviving. So that's because pregnancy actually increases your risks when it comes to COVID-19. So I'm sure we'll have some data soon. So hang on in there if you're a pregnant woman. But I'm more interested, but I'm not a specialist in that area, and I'm specifically interested in older people, which I anticipate many of you are. So a lot of the questions that I get asked is it safe for old people? Now, unlike previous experiences with drugs, this vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, especially the Pfizer vaccine that we're buying, has been tested in older people. And yes, it's safe. Yep. Whether it's as effective in older people, we don't know. But just because it's less effective, a little bit less effective, doesn't mean you shouldn't have it, because it'll still give you some protection against the virus. It's much safer having the vaccine. When it comes to vaccine, it's much safer having the vaccine than getting COVID-19. So you should definitely still have the vaccine, no matter how old you are. Yeah. So basically, it is a safe vaccine, and you are expected to have reactions after the vaccine. It's not a side effect; it's an intended effect.
For how long is the vaccine, the immunity for the vaccine do we have? Is it for a year or more, or the period? You all know that?
We don't know.
So then you're not even sure whether it is going to be for a year plus or what?
We don't know, because the data we have on the vaccine so far from the time it was tested, of course, is only about 6 months. So we don't know if after a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years later, we will actually need to have a booster. But it has been like that forever with all vaccines, because once we've developed a vaccine, we roll out the vaccine, and then we get new information all the time, and then we change our recommendation for vaccination all the time. So it's not something that it's not new. This not knowing when to have another vaccine. All vaccines are like this. So currently, there are a few vaccines that we don't quite know how often we should repeat, and there are a few vaccines that we definitely need to repeat every year. So if you have the flu vaccine, you have another flu vaccine in a year's time, because every time each year the flu virus mutates, and so we need to give you a new flu jab in order to give you better protection against the next year's flu viruses. But in a pneumonia vaccine, I'm sure people have heard of pneumonia. It's a newer vaccine. But we found it to be very effective in older people in preventing them from being hospitalized from pneumonia and also dying of pneumonia. So in that vaccine, the vaccine changes all the time. The technology improves all the time. But at the moment, we only give the first dose. We don't know whether we ever need to repeat that dose. That's normal. Yeah, this is normal when it comes to vaccine technology. And then the third one is shingles. Yeah, shingles, we used to have an older vaccine called the used to be called the Zostavax. That one has been discontinued because there's a new vaccine called the Shingrix. Also, the Shingrix is 2 doses, not available in Malaysia yet. But we also don't know whether we only recommend 1 dose. We don't know when it's going to be repeated. The same goes with the coronavirus vaccines. At the moment, we can only recommend 1 dose. We don't know when it needs to be repeated. We don't know if it needs to be repeated at all. Okay, so this is normal for vaccine. It's not because the virus vaccine hasn't been tested enough. It's the same for a lot of other vaccines that we're using today. Yeah, I'm sure people are aware of the hepatitis B vaccine as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that was rolled out maybe 4 decades ago. I remembered having the hepatitis B vaccine when I was a young child. At that time, we didn't know that you needed boosters, but we were very keen to have the hepatitis B vaccine anyway, right? Because we didn't want to get hepatitis B because it was quite widespread in our country at that time. So same story.
Prof, it's me again. Just now you are talking in terms of the child who actually have vaccine. We actually cannot compare a child with a senior citizen because of number one, their immune system. Okay, so because a new child born, their metabolic, their immune system are totally different from a senior citizen.
Yeah, but the COVID vaccine has not been tested in children. So you can't give COVID
Yes,
to children.
correct. I understand that. So you're telling in terms of vaccination, just like in example. So why does a senior child, you're talking more on senior citizen? Because number one, if a senior citizen, if they didn't do the blood test,
Yes.
if like example, if they don't do the blood test,
but there is nothing in the blood test that's going to tell us that won't actually, because you're asking the government to fund blood tests for all senior citizens as well as fund the vaccine. Now the vaccine is loads cheaper than blood tests. Okay, so you're asking this a demand that the government cannot meet. But the question is, does the results of the blood test change our decision whether we would give the vaccine or not? The answer is no. So if you want to have a blood test, by all means, but even if you find something with the blood test, it does not change the decision whether you should have the vaccine or not.
Prof, there's a lot of questions on
I'm reading a lot of, I'm reading the chat,
allergy,
but not,
allergy,
yeah.
to certain medicine, and also there's one on herd immunity.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So allergies. Yeah. So if you have an allergy, please speak to the doctor about it. So when they give out the vaccination, there will be a doctor who checks people out. You know, a medically trained personnel who will check people out. And so the doctor will actually ask people if they have any allergies. So the most common allergy that will stop people from having vaccines is actually egg allergy. So because a lot of times we grow the virus on egg. That's why if you have egg allergy, you cannot have the vaccine. And this is where Pfizer comes in, you know. Pfizer is not grown on eggs, it's a genetically engineered messenger RNA. So it's not grown on eggs. So you can have the Pfizer vaccine even if you have an egg allergy. So there are certain types of vaccines, some of the other vaccines you cannot have if you have egg allergy. So, but if you have lots of different allergies, a lot of people have allergy to dust, to pollen, to seafood. Those doesn't stop you from having the vaccine. It's best to discuss with the doctor about the severity of your allergies. Usually most allergies are mild, so they will just carry on vaccinating you. But if there is deemed that your allergy might actually have a cross reaction, actually have potentially have a cross reaction with a component of the vaccine, then they will actually ask that you are vaccinated in a healthcare facility. So arrange for you to have the vaccine where there's all the healthcare available, so that if you do have an allergic reaction, then you actually will be given the adrenaline and also any other necessary treatment as soon as possible. Okay. Now, for everybody else, after your vaccine, don't go home. Stay there for half an hour. Yeah. If you really rushed, at least 15 minutes, but don't rush. Make sure you clear everything. So I've got a colleague who's been given a vaccine slot on Wednesday. She has a clinic on a Wednesday. She's changing her clinic because it is so difficult to actually change the timing of the vaccine. Because it is such a lot of organization. So she is actually changing her clinic, yeah, so that she can actually have her vaccine. So if a doctor has to change her clinic so that she can have vaccine, and this for the benefit of her future patients, most people should be able to stay in the clinic for at least 15 minutes, if not half an hour, until after you had the vaccine, so that if you do have any allergies, most of the allergies will happen within that period. The doctor can give you the antihistamines or whatever you need to actually solve your problem before you go home lah.
Prof, Prof, don't you have a list of medicine, the allergic medicine list that's allergics in terms of COVID vaccine?
COVID vaccine and medications don't cross. Yeah, because a vaccine is a vaccine. It doesn't use any medications.
Let's say my wife, she's allergic to methadamic acid.
Yes.
Ibuprofen.
Yes, they are all the same classes. Yeah, and it has
they take vaccine?
Yeah,
no
problem. No problem. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof.
They're the same class. So it sounds a lot, no? But they're actually the same class of medication.
Because there's no one diclofenac sodium.
Yes, they're all the same
also
class
the same
of
class.
medication. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Prof.
So she's only allergic to one class of medications. It's
Right. Especially the ibuprofen.
Yeah. Yes.
Prof, can you hear me? Prof,
yes.
Can we go answer the questions on the chat, because those questions comes in first, rather than people posting the question verbally?
Yes. Okay. Sure.
Thank you very much.
Don't worry. We'll try and make sure everybody's questions are actually answered. The problem is I'm going through the chats and there's a lot of comments.
Please.
So I can't actually see questions, So I've answered the question about allergies. Okay. And then there's this question. Renal function test normal, 67-year-old. Can he have vaccination? Yes. Not only is it safe for him, he must have the vaccination because his risks are high. The risks are high. So because when you are older, over 60, if you have other comorbidities, especially obesity, diabetes, those are the high risk group. And this is again nothing new. So for a long time, we've already recommended that people in the high risk group must have the annual flu vaccine and must have the pneumonia vaccine, because if they catch either, they are at higher risk of complications. So this is the same rule for the COVID vaccine. Those people are the ones we specifically target in phase 2. So they should get the vaccine first before people below the age of 60 with no comorbidity. How safe is the Pfizer vaccine? What are the long-term side effects? Okay, still less than 1 year, the vaccine. This is a question we get all the time. Okay, so the vaccine technology is not that new actually. So I think the scientific world has known that this is going to be the best way of developing a vaccine fast. So when COVID-19 happened, because China was so instrumental in actually sending out the whole genetic sequence of the virus to the world within 1 month of discovery of the COVID-19, even before the virus got her name, the companies were actually before the virus and the disease got a name, the companies were already developing the vaccine already. And the technology, if you look at the scientific literature, has been developing for a few years, because we have anticipated a pandemic like this. And so we knew that we needed a technology that was going to help us develop a vaccine as fast as possible. And the mRNA vaccine was going to be the answer. So it has already been tested. And so it's not as new as you think. It's just that we've not actually vaccinated to this scale. And is it safe? Yes, because we know that millions of people through the world have received the Pfizer vaccine already. So we know that the UK has vaccinated more than 10 million people. We know that Israel has vaccinated 50% of their population. So, and a lot of the vaccines that were received were Pfizer vaccines, and they are safe. So all the hearsay about the side effects have been investigated, and so far none of the scares have actually proven to be real.
Prof, we have actually copied the questions from the beginning.
Okay.
Part of it.
Okay, sure. So
Can I ask a question? Let's say we have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and back pain. Are we safe to take the vaccine?
yes, yes. You have to take the vaccine because you're at higher risks. Yeah. So okay. So someone says ventricular tachycardia and hypertension. Yes, please take the vaccine because if you fall sick with COVID-19, then you're more likely to actually suffer complications lah. Yeah, because COVID-19 will exacerbate all this. Yeah. Does the vaccine recognize COVID only? What about other viruses? Yes, the vaccine only recognizes COVID. So so if you have had a flu vaccine before, it does not help you. Because the COVID vaccine only recognizes COVID. Yeah. So not other viruses. We don't have jabs for all viruses. We have jabs for flu. So please have your flu vaccine as well this year. And for the children, they've already had jabs against polio. They have not jabs. It's actually oral polio. They've actually got jabs against lots of other what do you call that, transmittable viruses. So we even have jabs against chicken pox nowadays, but those jabs only protect against those viruses. So for the what do you call that, for for COVID-19 vaccine is only protecting you against COVID. So I'll start answering questions that SJBA has posted. Okay, so we will give you a chance to actually ask your questions. So can I just ask that everybody mutes their mic for now? Okay, so because the people have very patiently typed in their questions and they've been waiting for the answers very patiently. Okay, so my mom is sorry, if you don't mind, I just answer these questions first. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So my mom is 88 years old, has a heart condition, patient of IJN and under medication for dementia. Is it safe for her to be vaccinated? Yes, it is. It is important she gets vaccinated. Now, people always, unlike medications, where the older you are, the more the risk of side effect is higher. When we talk about vaccines, the older you are, you actually have the risk of you getting a reaction to the vaccine is actually lower. Yeah, a bad reaction to the vaccine is actually lower. So yes, it is safe and she must have the vaccine because she's very, very high risk.
be able to recognize.
Okay, sorry,
Dr.
can I
Tan.
get everybody to mute themselves?
Dr. Tan,
Yes.
I'm very sorry to ask you this way. I don't know how to type. Hello.
Can you wait for a while I answer the questions first?
Yeah.
COVID-19 virus. Will they recognize or not?
Can I get everybody to mute themselves first? Can I get the organizers to help mute everyone? Yeah? Can I get the organizers to help mute that person who's making noise? Yeah. Please be patient. Please be patient.
Yeah,
So,
someone will unmute again because sometimes they can't hear.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, is it safe for someone with a pacemaker to take the vaccination? Totally. Yeah, the pacemaker is a machine that actually controls the heartbeat. So the vaccine will go nowhere near the pacemaker, and it won't make any difference. The vaccine won't make any difference to the pacemaker. Yeah. Okay. Is there another question, Mrs. Lam? Question 3, question 4.
Yeah, we can scroll down the questions for you.
Okay, yeah. Can mitral valve prolapse person receive vaccination? They must have the vaccine because, as before, they are at higher risks of getting complications if they catch COVID. So it's very important that they actually receive the vaccine as a priority. Yeah. Can a person that allergy to vibramycin and side effects is swelling of eyes take the vaccine? The answer is yes, but you must tell the doctor about your allergy. So because it depends on which vaccine you're being actually offered. Because I can't go through all the vaccines and I can't memorize all the cross reactions. So they will check through the list, and if the vaccine that's on offer me. Okay, if the vaccine that they have on offer that day is not suitable because of your allergy, they will actually arrange for you to come back another day, or if they will actually take another vaccine that maybe they have in stock. So please let the doctor know. Don't just take my word for it. Okay, don't hide your allergies. They won't deny you the vaccine because of the allergies. They'll just make sure that you get the right vaccine and you get it the proper way. Yeah. Okay, can you scroll down
Tan,
the question?
Dr. Tan, can I ask you, because I don't know how to type.
Don't worry, I'll finish these questions first and I'll let people ask the questions then, okay? Yeah. I suspect I'm a anaphylaxis person is I have swollen lips and eyelids on certain medicine. Okay, that's not anaphylaxis, okay? Anaphylaxis is life-threatening. Yeah. So the definition of anaphylaxis means that if without medical intervention, that person would have not survived. So if you've had that sort of severe allergy that you needed to have a breathing tube in and an adrenaline injection to save your life, then you should not have the vaccine. But if you swollen eyes and swollen lips are on certain medications, what you really need to do is, because a lot of us have allergies. If you ask around, a lot of people have allergy to this, allergy to that. Yeah. But if they ask me whether I've got any allergies that will stop me having the vaccine, of course not. That's why I'm having my vaccine. I have only very mild allergy to seafood that I sometimes got a little bit, sometimes don't have. Yeah, but this is not real allergy. Yeah. So the ones who is actually with severe allergies that we are looking at are the people who were really ill, needed to go to hospital, needed an injection of adrenaline or needed a breathing tube. Those are severe allergies that will stop them having the vaccine. So if you're not sure, that's why we ask everybody to declare the allergies. The doctor will go through it and they will decide whether this is severe enough for you to have to go to a hospital to have your vaccine, or you can carry on having because they will have actually these vaccination center, whether you can actually carry on having your vaccine in the vaccination center. Okay. Yeah, so everybody is worried about having a vaccine because you haven't been vaccinated for a long time, most of you. So of course it's painful, like it's a jab, right? And then you expect your arm to be swollen, maybe cannot lift things for 1 or 2 days, and then you might actually be very tired and you have to, go and lie down for 1 or 2 days. So so all of us anticipate that and we hope that it's not too bad, but it doesn't mean you should not have the vaccine, because if you got COVID, it will be a lot worse, or you might not make it. Okay, to the doctors, I'm allergic to NSAID, not all types. Can I take the vaccine? The answer is yes. Please let the doctor at the center know that you have allergy to NSAID so that can check it against the type of vaccine that you will be given. But I suspect you'll be okay. Yeah. Okay, so I have rheumatoid arthritis. How will the vaccine affect me? Is a viral vector vaccine safer? Okay, this is a very good question. So a lot of the people with rheumatoid arthritis are on drugs that suppress their immune system. So if let's say you're having a flare up of rheumatoid arthritis, and you're having really strong drugs that is suppressing your immune system, if you have a vaccine at that time, then you might not be able to generate an immune response. Okay, so you should not actually have the vaccine then, because it'll be a wasted dose. You won't come to any harm, but you wasted the dose. So should wait until you get a bit better before you have the vaccine. But if you have very stable rheumatoid arthritis and you just take 1 or 2 drugs at that time, then you should actually be prioritized in phase 2 for the vaccine. Yeah. And we're still fine-tuning our lists. And as far as I know, with rheumatoid arthritis, we've already started giving out talks. Please go and have your vaccine. The other group is cancer patients. Please go and have your vaccine. Yeah.
Prof, since that you are on autoimmune, the immune compromised thing, there are questions here on SLE. Further down, they have questions on SLE.
Yes.
So can you please?
Same. Rheumatoid arthritis, SLE, the same. Exactly the same. You must have the vaccine. Yeah. Okay. Because you're at high risks. So you will come in the phase 2, the high risk group. Yeah. Okay. So 67, obese. I think I've answered this question. Proteinuria. Yes. Prioritize phase 2. Please have your vaccine as soon as you've been offered. Yeah. Okay. And I've answered the how safe is the biotech. Okay. So which vaccine is better? I thought someone was going to ask this question. You don't have a choice, actually. You'll be offered one vaccine. Yeah. If you don't want that vaccine, you will give up your turn. I know this is quite severe, but we don't have enough vaccines for the world. Yeah. So don't feel that you have a right to choose which vaccine. It's already an honor to be offered a vaccine. So take it. take it. All the vaccines have been tried out for safety. Yeah, don't feel tempted to forego your turn, because you will go to the back of the queue and they will only offer it again once everybody else has received their vaccine. Yeah. So
Prof,
yes.
hey, hi, sorry. You said that we cannot choose the vaccine, but
No.
today I saw the paper. This Carrie mentioned that he actually he don't want to go for the first. He want to go for second. He want to go for the Sinovac. It came up in the paper. How come politician can choose for a normal person cannot?
Yeah, so no, you'll be offered the first one, and sometimes depending on your list of allergies or your medical condition, they might actually choose the most suitable vaccine for you. Yeah, but you'll be offered one vaccine, and it's just whatever is available at that time. Yep.
Prof, KJ did not say that he's going to take the Sinovac. He just say that he will take whatever come along
Yes.
that will boost the confidence of the public.
Yes.
Since PM and DG and some, the rest of them have taken the Pfizer, so there's enough confidence in that. So he will take the next one.
Thank you for saving me. I know people are always trying to catch me out, right? But I'm trying to tell you, take the first one that's on offer. Yeah, because you don't have a right to choose. Yeah. And that's what Hairi said himself. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, let's get back to the question. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you for saving me. Yes. Okay, my name is Shihan. I'm allergic to, yes. So I think we've answered that. NSAIDs, yes, allergy and NSAIDs common, but should not cross-react with the vaccines. But please let the doctor know about it. Okay, next question.
Dr. Tan?
Yes.
When
sorry,
we get
Mrs.
the first
Lam?
dose.
Yeah, sorry, Mrs. Lam, is there another question? Question 13.
Okay.
Can you scroll down for me?
Scroll down.
Okay. Okay, can you take you on some women might develop, what's your take? I don't know how. Why would they develop breast lumps after the vaccine? Pass. I'm a geriatrician. I wouldn't know much about breasts. Yeah, but I've never heard of breast lumps after the vaccine. Yeah, pass. I don't think so. Yeah. And some allergic to amoxicillin take the vaccine. Yes, should be okay, because amoxicillin is an antibiotic, so it should not cross-react with any of the vaccine components. But please let the doctor know about your allergy so that they actually cross-check with that particular vaccine that's on offer. And if there's an issue, they will choose a different vaccine for you. Yeah. Okay.
Prof, on the allergy to medicine, there are other questions, allergy to penicillin, which is also amoxicillin, and a lot more, the names and all that.
Yes. Yeah, so please don't ask me individual medicine, because I haven't memorized it. No? Thank you for flattering my intellect. But actually, I haven't memorized a list of potential medicines that could cross-react with the vaccine components. Because, to make up the vaccine they have to use things. But as far as I know, they wouldn't use anything. They wouldn't use non-steroidals, and they wouldn't use antibiotics. So it should not actually have any issues. But please, the manufacturers would have provided a list of drugs that would potentially cause an issue, allergies that could potentially cause an issue, not drugs, list of allergies that could potentially cause an issue. And if you have those allergies, then you shouldn't have that vaccine. Then you should choose a different vaccine. Yeah. But that one has to be addressed by the doctor in the center. So please turn up for your slot, and the doctor will check. Most of the time, it is going to be okay. But if there was, on the rare occasion it's not okay, they will offer you another slot with a different vaccine.
Dr. Tan, let me ask you this one. Dr. Tan, let me ask you this one.
Can I ask Mrs. Lam, is there more questions? Can you scroll down?
Just ask you this one only.
Yeah, can you wait for a while? Yeah. Can we
Regarding
wait for a while? Can we wait for a while, please?
Yeah, Prof. Actually, there are so many more questions which I don't think you can complete all. We will put this up, your email, and ask them to email you direct. Is it okay?
Probably not, because what if I have lots of questions and
Because
and then
there are so
spend
many.
the whole day to actually type it again.
Dr. Tan, just once on the way.
So what are the other questions that they've typed? Because they've all asked about individual allergies, right?
No.
Can I just talk to Mrs. Lam at the moment? Yeah. Okay.
No allergy.
So if you don't mind, I'll just talk to Mrs. Lam at the moment. I'll be with you in a short second. Yeah. Okay.
There are also questions on the heart diseases. A lot of the technical one, the
Yeah,
eczema,
so I
and
think a lot
also
of the
is it-
questions are actually repetitive. Yeah, so they all ask about if I have this condition, is it safe? Is I have
yes.
that this condition, is it safe? The answer is if you have any condition, yeah, can I make this blanket statement? If you have any condition, it makes it more important that you have the vaccine, and you should actually be prioritized in phase 2 if you clicked on that slot that you have. But please don't lie. If you click that you have another medical condition, you should be prioritized as phase 2. But of course, you lied. If you lied and they checked at that time, then they kick you to the back of the queue. Yeah. So please don't lie. Yeah. So if you but please be honest. If you have a medical condition, please declare it, lah. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and then
Dr.
the other
Tan.
thing is any allergies. I will because I know a lot of people are worried about allergies. I can't check your allergies now because it really depends on the vaccine that you will be offered at that time. Please declare your allergies to the doctor at the center. They will check the allergies and they will offer you the vaccine that is actually most suitable for you based on your list of allergies. Most of the time, the vaccine that's on offer will be fine, but if it wasn't fine, they will give you an alternative. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Tan,
Yeah. Yeah.
regarding the vaccine,
Mm-hmm.
if I get Pfizer for the first dose,
Yes.
then the second dose
You will get
be
Pfizer.
okay, and then according to the what do you call it? According to what I heard that our country is importing 5 types of vaccine,
Yes. And it might
and
maybe
the
more, maybe
effectiveness
more,
the
maybe more.
effectiveness is different.
Yes.
So it is not fair that some people will get Pfizer, some will get don't know what brand.
What can we do? We can't. If we can get Pfizer for 100% of the population, we would have. That's why we say you cannot choose. We can't help it. We can't help it. Honestly.
Yes,
So we
we
got
can't help.
so we
we
got
can't
the
help
right
it.
to ask when the first dose they give, we got the right to ask what vaccine is it, so that we
Yes,
know
they
the
will have to
second
tell
dose.
you. They will have to
Huh?
tell you. It will be put in your My Sejatra. Yeah.
I see. They will tell us that. I see.
Yeah. I'm
Because
sorry.
I know
I'm sorry.
because
It
I
seems
read
terribly unfair, but we can't do anything about it. Yeah. We're doing our best for the population. Yeah.
because Pfizer has done a lot the most
Yeah.
trials. You see, I read this one. Pfizer has done the most trials.
The likelihood is you will be offered Pfizer. So don't worry too much. Because you live in Klang Valley, we've all bought for 50%. So, I think if you want the other one, or you might not get it. But if you want Pfizer, you're most likely to get Pfizer lah. Because you live in the Klang Valley, we have all the cold storage
No.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Prof, I think you won't be able to answer all these questions that they.
So I think some people find it difficult to type. So are there any questions that for people who want to ask us verbally?
Hello. I want to ask something very fast. Because I know Pfizer is have to put under 70-degree cold. So during the transport, are we capable to keep it at that kind of degree or not?
They
Please
cannot
lah,
inject
don't
a
ask this
frozen
sort of
vaccine.
question lah.
Yeah. They cannot give you a frozen vaccine. They have to thaw it out before they give it to you.
Yeah lah.
No, it's okay because people don't realize that. So we cannot. So what happened is it'll be stored in the ultra cold facility, and then they will actually take it out, and it will thaw. It will be thawing on the way to the vaccine center, so that they actually
Understand. Logically, they have to thaw it, but if you do when you are not vaccinated, not yet vaccinated.
It cannot be stored in a frozen temperature. It's already thawed.
Dr. Tan, can I ask a question? Dr. Tan?
Yes.
Let's say I have irregular heartbeat, but I'm not on medication. Can I take the vaccine?
Yes, of course. Yes, of
course. Thank you.
Hi, doctor. Just one question.
Yes.
My Sejatra, I've already registered for the vaccine.
Yes.
But on one whether I have any sejarah penyakit, so that one I think no, but actually I'm an RA. Can I change the info?
I can't quite hear you. Can you just repeat your question?
Okay. I've already registered for the vaccine.
Well done, yeah.
Okay, but one mistake I made when they asked about the sejarah penyakit, I think as no, see, but actually I'm an RA patient, so can I change the info?
Oh, you got palpitations.
Now mute that.
Yes, you can change the info anytime. Just go back and change it. Yeah.
Oh, just go back and then just do we like register for the second time?
No. Yeah, you while the system is on, because they know people change, things might happen but you just go back and update your info.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Chan.
Prof,
Dr. Chan.
I'm still going through the
Professor
chat.
Chan. Can you hear me, Professor Chan?
Yes, I can. Yeah, so I think somebody else was talking at first. Huh? Yeah, there was a gentleman talking just now.
Yeah, because I was wondering if you are still going through the chat, the question.
Okay.
If not, then.
Yeah, so I think Mrs. Lam and her team have actually compiled the questions. Yeah.
Yes, Prof.
I just a very fast one.
Yeah.
I was having heart attack 5 years ago.
Wow, sorry
3
to
years
hear
ago,
about
sorry.
that. Yeah.
So no problem, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. You means you're in the high risk group, so you need to reprioritize in phase 2.
I still can go for jet, right?
Oh, you need to go earlier than other people.
No problem.
Professor,
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, please? Professor
Yes.
Tan, I'm 85 years old.
Oh, really?
I think I've seen you once at your geriatric clinic when I came for my appointment.
Okay.
Anyway, I just want to ask, I'm having acute COPD, so I'm wondering whether this vaccination will exacerbate my condition.
Okay. Yeah. So no, it shouldn't. Yep, it shouldn't. Yeah, because the vaccine is not a live virus. It doesn't give you an infection. Yeah, so it shouldn't exacerbate your problem.
Dr. Tan, my sister is having this autoimmune disease. Is she advised to take SLE, something like that?
Definitely. It's the same as rheumatoid arthritis.
It's autoimmune because the whole system is very, very easy to get infection, something like that. Is it?
Yes.
Is it advisable to take?
Yes, they should. Because they're more at risk, so they should.
Yeah. That's why she dare not go anywhere, just stay at home every day.
Yes, I know. So the minute she have the sooner she has the vaccine, the better. You know. Yeah. So if we had the choice, we would vaccinate all the population tomorrow, but we don't. So what we're doing is we're prioritizing those who are at risks to actually have it first, so that we will not burden our healthcare system as much. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, Dr. Tan.
Yes.
Dr. Tan,
yes.
will, in case of any anaphylactic shock, the all clinics will have this equipment ready, is it?
Yes, they're required to have some minimal equipment to deal with allergies.
Minimal. If any anaphylactic shock is quite fast, you see. So I hope they have the emergency.
Yes, don't worry. Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Tan. Can I ask you a question, please? I am a SLE patient, heart patient, and a reflux problem patient as well. I'm allergic to tetracycline group of medication.
Yeah, so please don't ask me about the list of drugs and whether it's safe for you to have the vaccine.
I'm allergic to the whole group. Yes. Can I take the vaccination?
Yeah. Don't ask me. Tell the doctor about your vaccine, your allergies, and they will check. Yeah.
So your advice is I should register immediately.
Of course, yes.
So that when I go get the appointment for the vaccination on that day, I tell the doctor on duty what allergy.
When you register, it already asks you whether you have severe allergies. If you say no, then it'll be okay. So they will get a vaccine appointment, and then what will happen is we will actually, if you go there, you tell them about the allergies. I'm quite sure it will be fine, but please still tell them about the allergies because it will have to check again.
There will be a doctor there and then?
Yes. Yeah, okay. It won't be the doctor. It will not be the doctor administering the vaccine, but there will always be at least one medically trained personnel at the vaccine center that they will actually refer to if there was any issues.
Okay, so your advice is for me to register early.
Everybody should register as soon as possible.
So that I will tell the doctor on duty that day. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. One more question. If I have vertigo again or not?
Of course, yes. Of course. But vertigo doesn't put you in phase 2 though. Vertigo makes you still phase 3. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Can I ask a question, please? Okay. Basically, I'm a dialysis patient.
Oh wow.
And I survived pneumonia because I survived pneumonia, my major organ shutdowns, my heart and my lungs. And last year I was diagnosed with AS. So aortic, what is it? Aortic stenosis. Yeah, and then they increased my medication for my thyroid. So there's a whole lot of things happening. So what is...
Okay, that's a very good question. In fact, I don't have an answer for you right now. With dialysis patients, it means we are not sure about the safety of some of our vaccines. So you will have to, but they will pick you out and they will offer you, hopefully.
Yes, they have already told us to, opt for it or not and make a decision so that we can, we will be in stage 2 group. We'll be in the second group. But I still can't decide whether I should go for it or not. Hello.
Hi, sorry about that. Yeah. Our internet connection in our country just does this all the time. Yeah. I got back in anyway. Yeah, it just suddenly cuts off, Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Prof, I told them to ask the last question because we have taken up a lot of your time.
Yeah, I think a lot of the questions were like, if I have allergies, if I've got this medical condition, there's actually one blanket answer. So please, so if you don't mind not asking those questions, if anybody got any other else, because what I'm really surprised is nobody's asking how they're going to get their appointment, Yeah.
And Prof, there is one question.
Yes.
That recently there is some advertisement that you can go private.
Yes.
So do you think this is safe to go to private? Is the private hospital going to give this vaccination?
We don't know yet. We're trying to negotiate. So the private hospitals can only give vaccinations if the company, either two things, if the government can give them the vaccines to deliver to the people. So that's one way, or if they can buy the vaccines themselves. So number two, they haven't been able to buy the vaccines themselves because the manufacturers will not sell to them, The manufacturers are so busy selling to countries, governments at the moment, they don't have vaccines to sell to private sectors. So that one will be in the future when there's enough vaccine to be bought by private buyers. But at the moment, there's not a possibility. But if the government has issues actually giving out the vaccines, they might give some to the private centers to actually give. The negotiation, from what I can gather, is currently not with hospitals, but with the private GPs at the moment. But it's nothing confirmed as yet, because at the moment they've only got enough vaccines to give to frontliners, and the next batch of vaccines have not arrived yet. Yeah. So
Prof,
questions that we don't have answers for. Yeah.
Prof. KG has says that they are not going to commercialize the vaccine, so they're not giving to the private sectors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're not commercializing the vaccine, not him, but they will actually potentially ask for the help of the private sector to help deliver the vaccine. Yeah, this is what we're negotiating. So the private centers will charge the cost of the labor cost of delivering the injection, but they will not charge for the vaccine. Yeah, but the one is sometime for away lah. Yeah, so the negotiations are still all out. But our government cannot commercialize the vaccine they bought for the people.
So yeah.
I don't know why people are asking that, because most of the people are in the vulnerable group. So you get in phase 2, So yeah, so fingers crossed you get it soon already. Yeah.
Prof Tan, I check out the My Sejahtera.
Yes.
And there is a question on comorbidities. Can you help to define that term?
Comorbidities.
Yeah.
I know, they use terms like this, right? Yeah. So I was quite surprised that everybody was asking about individual conditions, but no one specifically asked about about signing up or how they're going to be called for the vaccine. Yeah, Mrs. Lam, I know that you're worried about my time, but I've actually got some slides to show on My Sejahtera. Maybe I can go through that. Is that okay, Mrs. Lam? Yeah.
Sure, Prof.
Yeah. So if you have your My Sejahtera app, and you haven't signed up yet, I want to show you what to do, okay? So that you all sign up today by the end of this day. Yeah. Okay. So I hope there's no more questions about whether you should have the vaccine or not. You should have the vaccine is the answer. It's an honor. You should have it. Yeah. And you shouldn't have a choice which vaccine. But if you have issues signing up, there are other ways to sign up. But the only way you can sign up today is actually through MySejahtera. Okay. So has everybody downloaded a copy of the MySejahtera?
Yes.
Yep. Anyone doesn't have MySejahtera? Okay, I suppose everybody needs to have MySejahtera to scan into anywhere, right? Yeah. So everybody has a copy of MySejahtera, so I don't have to show you how to download.
And updated the
so
COVID
you need to
registration.
upload the portal. Yes.
Yes.
So if you haven't uploaded it, you need to go to the Play Store. So I'll just go back. Okay. Yeah. It's only a 1 minute video, so we'll show this anyway. Yeah. Okay. So so you need to go back to the portal. Okay, and download it. Yeah.
Prof,
Yes.
don't they have an English version?
Unfortunately, doesn't seem so. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are Malaysians, so we should be able to understand a bit of Malay. But the MySejahtera does give you an update of the of every day's what do you call that, cases. It gives you an idea of how many cases there are in your area. And it has a lot of information that is very useful. So do check your MySejahtera every day and make sure it's updated. Now, if your MySejahtera is updated, if you turn on your app now, okay, yeah. So this is actually what's appearing on your screen if you open your MySejahtera, okay, and you should see there a little icon called COVID-19 vaccination. Does everybody have that? Does anybody not have that?
I don't have it.
Okay.
I clicked into my MySejahtera. It's just the check-in. I just have the check-in. That's all.
Okay, you just open the
check-in.
MySejahtera. You have the check-in. Yes. So you at the top right-hand corner, you should be able to click on close.
On the top right-hand corner, there is a light bulb.
Below that, you should be able to close that.
No, there is nothing below.
Okay.
Because there is for me to click on the check-in, the thing is, I don't have it. And anyway, if I can't do it through the MySejahtera, you said there are other ways which we can do later on, right?
Can you see my phone? Okay. Oh, you see here? So even if you're on a check-in screen, there should be on your bottom left-hand corner, there should be a little house icon. If you touch that, you should get this screen.
There is only a light bulb at the right-hand corner.
Bottom left-hand corner?
Bottom left-hand corner, there is nothing.
Should you just say check-in? Just touch on the screen a bit. Touch on the screen gently.
So if she sees the light bulb, it means she's on the scan mode.
Oh. Okay. So can you go back to your phone and open MySejahtera again?
Yeah, so I've opened MySejahtera, and I don't know, I'm getting this. Can you see? No.
Let me see. Sorry, I need to find you.
But otherwise, I can have another way of later on. You said there'll be another other options open for us, right?
Yes,
Well,
yes,
I'm not very
yes.
good with this my Sajatra app.
Yes, but it's actually very easy. So so do try and click on the open your app again, and then close your scan mode. Okay, close your check-in mode by touching on the little house icon on the bottom right-hand corner, and you should see this screen.
The thing is that those 3 dots don't come.
There's 3 dots. What are you looking for 3 dots for? A little house.
Okay, I'll close that.
Prof, maybe I can share this info. Maybe her version is on the old version. She need to update. She need to update her My Sajatra.
Yes, you need to update it. You know how can you remember how you downloaded My Sajatra?
Yeah, from Play Store. That was some time ago.
Yeah, so can you go back to the Play Store?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you need to actually search for My Sajatra and then update it.
Okay, all right. Then I'll do that.
Yeah. Then you should see this screen when you turn it on. Okay, if you don't see the screen, just press on the home button on the home, on the bottom left hand corner, and you should see this screen. Okay, so you get the update on how many cases there are. Okay, so
now,
so you should see COVID-19.
I open it.
Yeah, and you should see COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, so don't worry, I'll share the slide with Mrs. Lam later so that she can share with whoever wants to do this in their own lab. Okay, so once you've clicked on the COVID-19 vaccination, you should actually see this. So this is mine. Okay, so there should only be 3 lines. Vaccine for your name, not my name. Yeah, and then this is where you go, the www.vaccinecovid.gov.my to find out latest update about the vaccine. And then there's some reading material that you want to read. So if you have any questions that I couldn't answer just now or you were not happy with the answer, please just go to this vaccine information, and there's actually more information that you can read. Okay. So then these are the 3 questions that were asked. So the lady just now asks, what does comorbidities mean? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it drives us crazy because why did they have to put this stupid word that nobody understands? Okay, so so number 1, of course, are you interested to take the vaccine? If you say no, then you'll not get an appointment. Okay, so so please click on yes. Then do you have any comorbidities? Now, the Malay version is actually nicer. Do you have any history of medical illnesses? So comorbidities just means medical illnesses. It's not appropriate to use that word, I agree, but it just means medical illnesses. Yeah. So if you've had high blood pressure, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, SLE, heart disease, then you click yes. Okay. And then have you registered with the JKM as an OKU? So just 3 questions. So most of you wouldn't have, so you will click no. But if you have, please press yes, and then you submit. Okay, so that all you need to do is answer these 3 questions. Okay, if you have done that, when you press submit, then sorry. Then it will actually, oops, I've missed a screen there. So if you press submit, then it will just say that they're currently vaccinating frontliners and you will be contacted later about your vaccine. Okay. So so the question is how you will be contacted. Yeah. So if you actually so the idea is that you'll be the government, what Hairi wants to do is for everyone to be contacted through your app. So it will actually ask you to turn on your notifications on your phone. So now this is where it gets tricky because everybody's phone is different. Okay, so but how you turn on notifications is in your phone settings. I don't suggest you do it now because you'll mess everything up. So if you don't know how to do it, please ask somebody's help to make sure that your notifications are turned on. Yeah. So that when you get your appointment, your phone will actually says you have a message from My Sejahtera, and then when you open up the message, it will give you the information about your appointment. Okay, so I'm telling you it doesn't work at the moment, but hopefully by the time it's your turn, it works. If it doesn't work, there will be a plan B. You will get a phone call, which is what I got. I got a phone call. Okay, so then if you want any vaccine information, please click on that for the information, and then once you clicked on that, there should be a vaccine consent form. Okay, so this is a consent form. You are expected to fill in, to print out 2 copies of this consent form, okay, to sign it and to return it to bring it with you when you're having your vaccination. They will not give you the vaccination unless you sign this consent form. Yeah.
Where to get this form,
okay, it's in your My Sejahtera app. So if you got your My Sejahtera app open, okay, so if you go back to after you filled in and submitted, okay, you then go back, okay, to the vaccination screen. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you should see COVID-19 vaccine information. You click on that, and your screen should now look like this.
I can't get it.
Okay. Yep. And then you should have the consent form. Yes, it is in Bahasa Malaysia. And they only have one version. Okay. So if you want the vaccine, you're going to have to say yes to everything. Okay. And then sign it. Okay, so the question, the vaccine, the question actually asks at the moment, it might change, so I'm not going to read it out to you. The consent form might change by the time it's my time, but the time it's your time. But at the moment, this is the consent form I have to sign. Ask me whether I've had any severe allergies when I have other immunizations. Have I had any severe allergies at all? And am I pregnant? And am I breastfeeding? And then after that, the next sheet is for me to sign on. I have to return 2 copies on this on Wednesday when I have to turn up with 2 copies of 2 completed and signed copies when I turn up for my jab. So I have to print out this sheet. Now, how they expect people to figure out how to print from a My Sejahtera app, I don't know. So what I suggest SJBA does is to actually help supply a version that people can print out, yeah, if they don't know how, so that all the people who are having the vaccination is actually going to have the consent form signed before they turn up. But even if you turn up without the forms, I'm sure they will have copies at the center for you to sign. And hopefully there will be someone who will go through the consent form with you, and they might have alternative language versions. All that is still up in the air because at the moment we are actually vaccinating frontliners. So I'm actually pleading to people not to worry so much about whether the vaccine is suitable for you or not, because I do hope that you will trust the medical professionals there to have the vaccine, but actually to be very tolerant with this system. Don't get angry and give up, because it is your job to actually, as a responsible citizen, to make sure you get your vaccine. And Malaysia has never tried such an ambitious project in its entire history. So with us, okay? Nobody has actually tried to vaccinate 80% of its population ever. So please bear with us. Yeah. Okay. So I'm quite sure things will turn up as time goes along, but it's not going to be a seamless process.
Yeah, Prof, due to time constraint, I don't think you can really answer all those questions and all that. We'll have to end the session here.
Prof.
Yes.
Prof. Can I ask the last questions?
As long as it's not about if I have a medical condition, can I
No.
have the vaccine? Okay.
No. This is my mother don't have my mother is a 90 years old lady.
Yes.
So she doesn't have a handphone. Can I register for her?
How? Unless, because
Yes.
your handphone will only allow you to download one copy of the My Sejahtera app.
Until
So
they
we
come
haven't
up with
solved
a
this
dependent.
problem yet. Yeah. Until we haven't solved this problem yet, because you can't sign your dependent up at the moment. You can only scan in for your dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how am I going to register for my mother?
There are 5 ways of registering. Yeah. So you can go to www.vaccinecovid.gov.my. Yeah, and you should be able to vaccine that way. To actually sign up that way. There should be a hotline that you can call. You should also be able to attend to a center, a health center where you can actually sign up physically. Yeah, so those are the ways that we will be able to get in the city. Yeah, in the kampongs, we should go house to house to actually get people to have the vaccine.
Okay. Is it available now?
No, because we're not in March yet.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Prof, can I share
Dr.
this?
Tan,
Okay.
As a doctor, there
Dr.
is
Tan,
an app for dependents.
Sorry?
Dr. Tan, I have one last question. Because
It will
I
never
have,
end, is it? The last question, Prof.
I have,
Yeah.
sorry, I have a swollen throat because of
Yeah,
acid
can I
reflux.
stop you there? You can have the vaccine. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I think
Prof,
everybody is worried about the medical condition, and probably not fair for you to share your medical condition in an audience like this. So please, if you have any concerns, please go and see your own doctor. Yeah.
So thank you, Prof.
Okay.
Thank you for your time spent
No
the whole
problem.
afternoon. You have been very patient and compassionate.
Yeah, thank you, Doc.
No problem,
Doctor.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.